Ever had that gut feeling, that cold dread creeping up your spine, telling you something big, something hidden, is about to be revealed? That prickle of fear when you realize the person you thought you knew, the place you thought was safe, holds a secret darker than you imagined? Yeah, you know that feeling. It's the one that keeps you up at night, wondering what truth is just around the corner, waiting to ambush you. If you've ever felt that way, then this story, this journey into the unknown, is exactly for you. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor, all right? Go ahead and hit that like button, and in the comments below, tell me where in the world you're watching from right now. Seriously, do it. It means the world. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's not just a story. It's a peek behind the curtain of power, a glimpse into the raw emotions of those who stand to lose everything and those who are just trying to survive. Today we're talking about an undercover CEO, a man who built an empire, checking into his own hotel, and the chilling words he overheard that stopped him cold. Let's dive in to see. Liam Vance, a name synonymous with luxury hospitality, a titan of industry whose hotels dotted skylines across the globe, usually moved through life with the calm assurance of a man in control. He owned the Vance Luxe Collection, a chain of high-end hotels known for their impeccable service and opulent interiors. But this particular afternoon, something felt different. He wasn't Liam Vance, the CEO. He was just a guest, Mr. Arthur Finch, checking into his newest acquisition, the Grandeur Haven, a historic hotel he'd recently bought, hoping to infuse it with the Vance Luxe magic. He'd arrived unannounced, a phantom in his own kingdom, fueled by a nagging suspicion, a whisper of unease he couldn't shake. His gut, a seasoned advisor over the years, told him something was off. It wasn't a rumor or a report, it was a feeling, a deep-seated worry about the whispers of declining customer satisfaction that had, despite his best efforts to quash them, begun to reach his ears. As he walked through the grand lobby, the ornate chandeliers sparkling above, the polished marble floors reflecting his hurried steps, he nodded subtly to the bellhops and doormen, all unaware of the true identity of the casually dressed man with the modest travel bag. He approached the front desk, a sense of anticipation tightening in his chest. Two young women were behind the counter. One, with bright, curious eyes and a name tag that read Sarah, was assisting a guest. The other, her back mostly to him, was busy typing something on a computer. Her name tag read Olivia. Liam stood a respectful distance, allowing Sarah to finish with her guest. He could hear their hushed conversation. The guest, a woman with a tired but kind face, was asking about late checkout. Sarah, with a soft, apologetic tone, explained the hotel's policy. It was then, as Sarah turned to greet him with a practiced smile, that a fragment of conversation from Olivia, still focused on her computer, drifted across the counter and hit Liam like a physical blow. It's just another day, isn't it? Another shift of pretending everything's fine when it's all crumbling behind the scenes. Liam froze. His blood ran cold. The smile he was about to offer Sarah vanished. He stared at Olivia's back, her words echoing in his mind. Crumbling behind the scenes. What did she mean? 1,000 scenarios, each more unsettling than the last, began to swirl in his mind. Was it a morale issue? Financial troubles? A hidden scandal? The questions pounded against the walls of his skull. He felt a wave of nausea. This wasn't just a bad review. This was a voice from within, a confession from the heart of his own enterprise. Sarah, noticing his sudden stillness, her smile faltering slightly, said, "Welcome to the Grandeur Haven, sir. How may I assist you?" Liam, trying to regain his composure, managed a strained smile. "Checking in, under the name Arthur Finch." Sarah's fingers danced across the keyboard. Meanwhile, Olivia continued, seemingly oblivious to Liam's presence, her voice softer now, almost a sigh, as she typed, "I just hope Mr. Vance never finds out about how truly desperate things have gotten here. He'd be heartbroken." Heartbroken? The word pierced him. Liam felt a sharp pang of something akin to betrayal, but beneath it, a deeper current of fear. Fear for his legacy, for the people who worked for him, for the very foundation of what he had built. He had poured his life into Vance Lux. To hear one of his own employees speak of him with such genuine concern, coupled with the dire implications of their words, was a stark reminder of the fragile nature of success. It was a mirror reflecting his own deepest anxieties he had always pushed aside, believing his meticulous planning and grand vision were enough to guarantee perfection. "Mr. Finch," Sarah said, breaking his trance, "we have your reservation. A king suite, I see. For how many nights?" Liam's mind was still reeling. "Just one night, thank you." He managed to retrieve his identification, his hands shaking slightly, though he hoped it wasn't noticeable. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, to pull back the curtain and expose the truth. But he couldn't. Not yet. He had to be Mr. Finch. He had to observe. As Sarah processed his check-in, Olivia murmured again, "It's not right, you know. They cut corners, and we're the ones who have to face the guests. It's like being in a constant war you can't win." Liam's ears strained. "Cut corners?" The phrase echoed in his mind. What corners? Where? His vision was built on uncompromising quality. Had someone, somewhere, betrayed that trust? A wave of frustration washed over him. He was the CEO, the man at the top. Yet here he was, hearing about the supposed rot from the very people on the front lines, the ones he trusted to uphold his standards. "Here's your key card, Mr. Finch," Sarah said, handing it to him with a polite smile. "Your room is 712. Enjoy your stay." Liam took the card, his fingers brushing hers. He wanted to ask her. He wanted to ask Olivia. But he couldn't. He had to maintain his cover. He had to be a ghost in his own hotel. He thanked Sarah, forcing another strange smile, and turned towards the elevators. As he walked away, he heard Olivia's voice again, a little louder this time, a note of desperation seeping in. "I don't know how much longer I can do this, Sarah. It's draining. Every day feels like a losing battle against everything." Liam's heart ached. He knew the feeling of a losing battle, but not like this, not within his own walls. The elevators dinged, announcing their arrival. He stepped inside, pressing the button for the 7th floor. The doors slid shut, separating him from the two young women, but not from their words. Those words, those raw, honest words, had lodged themselves deep within his soul, a venomous seed of doubt. He reached his suite, a lavish space with sweeping city views. Usually a room like this would fill him with pride. Today, it felt hollow. He walked to the window, staring out at the urban sprawl, but his mind was back at the front desk, replaying every whispered word. Crumbling behind the scenes. Desperate things. Cut corners. Each phrase was a fresh wound. He spent the next few hours walking the halls, observing. He saw chipped paint in a corner corridor he never would have noticed before. He saw a stain on the carpet in the lounge that seemed to have been there for a while. He noticed a faint odor of stale cleaning products in one of the bathrooms. Small things, perhaps. But to Liam, they were glaring cracks in the foundation of his perfect vision. These were the corners that were being cut, the visible manifestations of the desperate things Olivia had spoken of. He ordered room service, choosing a simple sandwich, and noted the extended delivery time, the slightly lukewarm coffee. Each minor imperfection was a heavy blow. He kept thinking about Olivia's words, her palpable exhaustion. It wasn't just about the business. It was about the human cost. He had built this empire on the principle of caring for his employees, believing that happy staff led to happy guests. What had gone so wrong? Later that evening, unable to rest, he decided to revisit the lobby. He disguised himself further, pulling a baseball cap low over his eyes and wearing a dark jacket. He positioned himself near a large potted plant, pretending to read a newspaper, his ears straining for any more clues. A different desk attendant, a young man named Alex, was now on duty. He was talking to a woman, a guest who seemed distressed. "I just don't understand," she was saying, her voice thick with tears. "My reservation was for a suite with a city view, and you've put me in a room overlooking an alley. And the air conditioning, it's barely working." Alex, looking uncomfortable, kept glancing around as if searching for help. "Ma'am, I'm truly sorry. It seems there's been a mix-up with the room assignments. And for the air conditioning, we've been having some issues with the system." Liam's blood boiled. A mix-up? Issues? These were not the Vance Lux standards. This was evasion, dishonesty. He felt a surge of indignation, not just for his hotel, but for this guest, for Alex, who was clearly being put in an impossible situation. He noticed Alex's hand tremble slightly as he offered the guest a complimentary drink voucher, a meager consolation for her distress. The woman, still looking unhappy, accepted it and walked away. As soon as she was out of earshot, Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's a nightmare, isn't it?" he muttered to himself, but loud enough for Liam to hear. "Every day another complaint, another problem we can't fix because they won't give us the resources. They just tell us to make it work. How can we make it work when we're drowning?" Drowning. The word echoed Olivia's earlier sentiment. A chill ran down Liam's spine. It wasn't just corners being cut. It was a systemic problem, a lack of resources, a crushing burden placed on the shoulders of his frontline staff. His mind raced, trying to pinpoint where the breakdown was occurring. Was it an overzealous regional manager? A new cost-cutting directive he hadn't approved? The truth, or at least a significant part of it, began to crystallize in his mind, and it hit him with a force that left him momentarily breathless. He had been so focused on the grand strategy, the acquisitions, the bottom line, that he had perhaps unintentionally lost touch with the ground reality. He had entrusted too much, perhaps, to those beneath him, assuming they would always uphold his vision, without providing them with the necessary tools or support. He spent the rest of the night tossing and turning, the words of Olivia and Alex swirling in his head. He thought of his parents, who had started their first humble inn with nothing but hard work and a promise of genuine hospitality. They had always emphasized that the true heart of any business lay in the people who ran it, the ones who interacted with the customers every single day. He had strayed from that fundamental truth. He had become an invisible hand, and in doing so, had allowed his empire to become a place of unspoken fears and hidden pains. The next morning, Liam checked out, still as Mr. Arthur Finch. As he handed back his key card to a different front desk clerk, he felt a resolve harden within him. He had seen enough. He had heard enough. The truth, painful as it was, had been laid bare by the raw, unscripted emotions of his own employees. They weren't disgruntled. They were disheartened. They weren't lazy. They were overwhelmed. Stepping out of the grandeur haven into the bright morning light, Liam Vance felt a profound sense of purpose. He wasn't just a CEO anymore. He was a detective, a healer, and a leader who had been reminded in the most visceral way possible of the true meaning of his business. The experience had been humbling, terrifying, and ultimately enlightening. He knew he had to act, not just to fix the problems, but to rebuild trust, to reinvest in his people, and to ensure that no employee of the Vance Lux collection ever felt like they were fighting a losing battle again. Because a true leader doesn't just build an empire. They nurture the ground it stands on, especially the hearts of those who work there. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest lessons are learned not from the boardrooms and balance sheets, but from the quiet, honest whispers of the people who make it all possible. And that, my friends, is the power of listening, truly listening, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It's about remembering that behind every grand structure, every successful venture, are real people with real feelings, real struggles. The moral of this story: Success is not just about what you build, but how you maintain it, especially the human connections within it. Ignoring the silent suffering of your team can unravel even the strongest foundations. What are your thoughts on Liam's journey? Have you ever had an experience where a small whisper revealed a massive truth? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video if it resonated with you. Until next time, stay curious and keep listening.